Every morning, millions of people drag themselves out of bed, gulp down their coffee, and pour out onto the streets. Have you ever stopped to wonder why? Not the obvious answer, to pay the bills. We all know that one. I mean the deeper question. Does the work I'm doing actually mean anything? Or is it just a punishment I have to get through? There's an old story about 3 stonemasons. All 3 were doing the exact same job, at the exact same site. Someone walking by stopped and asked them, "What are you doing?" The first one looked up. Tired eyes. Flat voice. "I'm cutting stone." The second glanced up. Gave a little shrug. "I'm shaping a Gothic window arch." The third one stopped. Looked up. Eyes lit up. "I'm building a cathedral." Same work. Same stone. Same hands. But 3 people living in 3 completely different worlds. So here's the question. Which one are you? There's a misconception that a lot of people hold, and honestly, a lot of Christians too, even today. Work is God's punishment for what Adam and Eve did. You've heard it. The idea that because our first parents ate the forbidden fruit, now we're all stuck grinding away for the rest of our lives. But DOCAT, the Catholic Church's Guide to Social Teaching, says it plainly. That's not true. In the book of Genesis, before original sin ever entered the picture, God placed humanity in the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and care for it. Which means, work came before the fall. Work is not a punishment, work is part of what it means to be human. So what actually changed after the fall? Not the work itself, but the hardship of doing it. The ground became harder. The sweat came heavier. Frustration showed up. But work itself was always a gift. And here's the part that genuinely surprised me. When God became human, He didn't show up as a king. He didn't show up as a scholar. He showed up as a carpenter. For 30 years, before He ever preached a single word, Jesus stood in Joseph's workshop, planing wood, hammering nails, making furniture for ordinary people. What does that tell us? It tells us this: the most ordinary work you do carries a sacred dignity. Martin Luther King Jr. said something I keep coming back to, and I think it's one of the most powerful things ever said about work. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets the way Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause and say, "Here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well." That's not a call to accept injustice. That's a reminder that every person who works, no matter what they do, has a dignity worth defending. But DOCAT doesn't stop at the spiritual side of work. It also asks a very uncomfortable question. Is work serving people, or are people serving work? In cities today, many people work 10, 12 hours a day. They get home and their kid is already asleep. They wake up and their kid hasn't stirred yet. Weekends? Laptop open. DOCAT has a word for this: workaholism. And Jesus flagged this problem 2,000 years ago. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Work is a part of life, not the whole of it. There's a saying I love. You don't lose your job by stopping to show your child a rainbow. But the rainbow won't wait until you're done. So this week, one small question to sit with. Which stonemason are you? Are you cutting stone, just getting through the day? Shaping an arch, focused on doing the job well? Or building a cathedral, seeing your work as part of something much bigger than yourself? There's no right or wrong answer. But that question just might change how you feel when your alarm goes off tomorrow morning. This is episode 1 of the series, where we take DOCAT The Catholic Church's social teaching. Off the page and into real life. Not theory. Not lectures. Just honest questions, and the best answers the Church has found. If this helped you, share it with someone who's lost their sense of purpose at work. Sometimes one small story changes how a person sees their Monday morning. See you in the next one.